Hey, everybody. Welcome to the official Do Good Better podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kirby. And of course, we're talking with friends of ours, right? We're going to give everybody sort of an exclusive update and sort of a sneak preview of a nonprofit you might not have heard of, but you probably should, doing amazing work. I've got with my today, I've got Mark Meyer. He is the executive director and founder. And I've got the ministry coordinator, Dave Bender of Heaven's Helpers Soup Cafe out of Bismarck, North Dakota. Gentlemen, welcome to the official Do Good Better podcast.
Hello. Happy to be here with the Duke.
I'm pretty excited, and I'm sure everybody else is, on sort of hearing what you do, and really excited to probably read the show notes, but they might not know who you are. So for everybody sort of scrolling through iTunes or looking through YouTube, kind of give a 5,000 foot level view on who you are, what you do, and why we're chatting today.
So the Heaven's Helpers Ministry was founded to really be the hands and feet of Jesus. And in 2009, we started the Soup Cafe. And the Soup Cafe is really just a soup kitchen that we operate as a restaurant. And we try to treat people with love and respect, make homemade soup, give lots of love to folks who need a meal, and that's really the kind of the bedrock of the Heaven's Helpers ministry. And probably about a little over a year ago, we started the Heaven's Helpers Closet 701, which gives away free clothing throughout the community. And then we're in the process of starting the Heaven's Helpers Repurpose Store, which is a thrift store for building materials, furniture, appliances, that sort of thing, designed to put some folks to work who maybe have been in addiction or are looking to improve their lives, where we can mentor and train them, give them a second chance. And that's kind of what we've been up to.
That's not a bad a couple of years, if I may say so myself. 2021 was a challenge for a lot of nonprofits. I'm guessing that there was quite a few in your neck of the woods as well. What was something that you stumbled across, or that happened at your organization that you sort of overcame? But how'd that happen?
So you can imagine with a nonprofit that has probably 30 volunteers every day to be able to make the Soup Cafe work. And once COVID hit, we had a lot of people who were afraid to be out in public, didn't come, elderly. We lost all of our church groups, our after school volunteers, for the kids. And so it was a skeleton crew. And we ended up, when the governor closed down the dining rooms for the restaurants, serving through the window. And at that time, we hit our highest number of, I think, the mid 500 meals every day with a skeleton crew. And so that was a challenge, and it's taken a while to kind of get back to normal, but I think we're back to normal, with our volunteers.
It's an incredible number of people that you could serve with not as many volunteers. Dave, is there one story, or maybe a couple stories, of just absolute triumph or awesome that you have seen come through? I think one of the best parts of chatting with nonprofits like yours is that even in really sort of harrowing times, whether it's skeleton crew, you can't have the volunteers, there's more people to serve than ever, there's always really some good that comes out of this. Why don't you tell everybody who's listening sort of some really great stuff that has happened over the last year with you?
I've only been involved with the ministry since November. So Mark really led the ship and kept it going through that COVID time. Probably, Mark, you have a great story or two or five or 20. But
they all kind of run together. But, there are a lot of folks who were shut-ins with COVID during this time, where we delivered meals. I think at our peak, we had close to 100 meals that we delivered throughout the community of people who had COVID who couldn't leave their place of residence. And so we provided meals during that time to anybody who needed it.
It speaks to how many people were out of work or couldn't go to work. Not everybody was getting that federal subsidy kickback. If you're out, you get to have a paycheck anyway. Some people who are home are businessmen or business people or fixed income. When we say we served 500 at the peak of COVID, but we're back to normal now, which is 200. So that's 300 extra people who didn't have enough income or couldn't go out to buy. But chances are a lot of them were on lower dollar signs coming into their pocketbooks. That meant more people needed a soup kitchen like ours to serve them. So COVID hurt economically. And thankfully, we still have a good donor base where the food was still there. We're still getting food from Great Plains Food Bank. We're still getting donations from the Walmarts, from people dropping off extra food from banquets they had and things like that. You must have still had a good supply of food coming in during that time to feed twice as many as we're feeding now day by day.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. We're the Heaven's Helpers ministry, and the Lord has greatly supplied our every need. One of the things that's exciting to tell about is that, we haven't went grocery shopping since 2009. And so whatever the Lord provides, that's what we're able to provide and provide well.
When other nonprofits are listening to this and there may be a basic needs group, or they're working with individuals who are homeless or really needing sustenance, what sort of tip or trick or piece of advice would you give an organization who's come up against a struggle, or some sort of word of wisdom that you can let them know you're going to make it kind of through? Anything that you've learned over the last maybe year and a half that says, hey, trust the process. This is what we would do.
For us, it's been trust in the Lord and what we've been doing, because as we continue to be the hands and feet of Jesus and treat people with respect and love on people and do a good job, the community notices, people notice, and they want to support where the most good is being done. And so I would say, don't change, keep doing what you're doing. That's right. And it'll all take care of itself.
I think one of the new words we learned was pivot, right? Don't just keep on doing what you're doing. Just make a little pivot, but keep on moving. And you might have to do things different, like serve through the window, but we're not just going to shut down our cafe just because we can't have a dining room. Look at all the other restaurants that still have a drive-through, even though you can't get a coffee at Starbucks or something. They didn't close their drive-through down. They don't have enough employees, but the lines are a little longer, but they're not going to just stop business, and we're not going to stop caring and giving, and your motives are pure. So that's one thing, is pivot, try something different, be creative. It's sometimes hard for us to want to make a little change, but when things like this happen, you do things and you're like, wow, we did all that with less people. Wow, we did all that with less. And as nonprofits, we're always doing something with less. It's like we're called to be making something out of nothing most of the time. It's like, how can I give more? How can we get more out of nothing that we already have? But it's usually just a pivot. And then another thing I would say is the nonprofits that aren't faith-based and the faith-based nonprofits, we need to work better together too. And so, you hear Mark, great man of faith, saying, we leaned on the Lord will provide. And sometimes we have to share that message and say, hey, we'll make it through together. We're better together. We'll make it through. And I think that as organizations, we need to lean on each other's faith at hard times, lean on some of these faith-based organizations. And I'm sure they'd be happy to lend that hand of support and encouragement, even a prayer, even though you might not pray in your organization. This organization will pray for every organization. And so lean on us. We're going to lean on you. We need people to deliver some food. We might need to use the van you guys got at your organization to help to deliver the food that we're providing at our organization. So it's a community.
I love it. And I think, and as we're recording this, we're in the middle of a blizzard here in Fargo, North Dakota, which leads to the question, What's your favorite soup you've made this particular week? Or do you have a favorite of your customers that would say, buying away, this is the one you have to get?
Well, Mark probably doesn't want to say. He makes great gourmet soup every single day. And if you sat down, you would say, this is homemade soup. This isn't soup you grab out of a bag from the GFG truck and warm up. This is homemade soup the way Mama used to make it, where you put a little bacon fat and you fry up your onions. And then you're using real chicken broth or turkey broth that we actually brewed up from the turkeys that were donated. So it's real sustenance too. But his Nefla is probably the best in North Dakota. He's won some accolades for the Nefla because we make homemade Nefla too. The Nefla is homemade, and then the broth is real chicken broth. So it's pretty hard to beat that. In North Dakota, Nefla is pretty much if you can't make good Nefla, that's the standard. But we've got New Orleans medley on the menu this week. So it's got a little spicy sausage in there, and there's no bad soups. But what is your favorite? What would you say? You look forward to pumpkin soup, squash soup.
I look forward to Mountain Man soup.
Okay.
So Mountain Man soup is a manly soup that it'll have beef, and it'll have chicken, it'll have bacon, it'll have sausage and ham and all kinds of meat and baked beans and some onions and peppers, and might have a little corn in it, but it's just a manly soup that, yeah.
I mean, you had
so that's all donation. Think
Yeah.
about all that being donated for soup.
That's crazy. I mean, you had me at bacon, fat, and onions, and then you went out all those. How do people get a hold of you? I know that people are probably listening. They're saying, I need to reach out to see when you're open so I can get some soup. B, how we can support. C, how we can volunteer and really spread the word. How do people get a hold of you? Where do they go? Who do they contact?
Yeah. So the easiest way is just follow us on Facebook. We're the Heaven's Helpers Soup Cafe. If you search for us in Facebook, you'll find us. Our website, soupcafe.org, gets you right to our website. And those are really the two best ways to be in contact with us.
And don't forget about the repurposed store. You can buy the things that we've donated, have been donated online. Now you can stop in Bismarck and pick them up. And the Closet 701 also has a Facebook page and a website too.
Yeah.
Lots of ways to donate and lots of ways to come and volunteer. We need people hanging up clothes and serving the people that come in the front door, being the hands and feet of Jesus at all of these locations. So lots of opportunities to volunteer right at those places as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, Dave, not only thank you for what you do every single day, but thank you so much for being a guest on the official Do Good Better podcast. We'll have all of those contacts and all of those links in the show notes. Appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. I think the world's a better place because you exist. And thanks so much for being a guest on the official Do Good Better podcast.
Our pleasure. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.